Alright, this is going to be our spacer on the top that's going to have, I'm going to put 3 holes in it, one for each chuck jaw. I'm going to use the chuck jaw as like an index. And then those holes are going to get transferred into the other, the base. Now, I have it all marked out already. If you can see the bluing there with the little scribe lines. But I'm going to start the holes in my lathe. Now, here's how I'm going to do that. I came up with this contraption I made a while back. All this is a piece of 3/8 aluminum that I cut and shaped in the bandsaw and on a sander here. This hole right here is threaded to accept the collar of a Dremel flex shaft. I have a small tiny bit in there. I'm going to use that to spot the holes, drill through them, and then we can enlarge them to size, which we're going to use. I need to drill this for clearance for a number 632 screw, and then my multi-speed Dremel is just over there. I didn't want the whole Dremel tool hanging off my tool post, which is why I used the flex shaft, which seems to work out pretty good. So let me just double check my measurements here, make sure we're all correct on my facing, and then I'll show you how I'm going to drill it. Alright, I have my drill where I want it, and like I said, I'm going to use each chuck jaw here as an index to put a hole in there. So there's the center of that jaw. When I turn this on, you're probably not going to be able to hear me, but let's kick it on. Speed it up. There's one. Through there. And we're through there. Alright, now we got all the machining done. We have to fit it to the compound. Now if you notice, I'm going to get a little bit better light on here. You have the shaft goes in the middle, you have a slot and a slot. Now you can make your own. I've seen people sell the spanners to fit these, or you can make your own, but I have found, actually, I think I bought this to repair a seat, but this is a tack puller, just basically just a screwdriver handle with a little fork on the end. That little fork fits perfectly in this thing. So undo that, and if you can see in there, I don't know if I can get a decent close-up of it, or right there. That's a pin. And that basically holds the alignment of this. That's a key. I might not be able to... Nope, I'm not able to pull it off. So I have to get my pulley puller, which I should have conveniently in here. Yes, I do. Alrighty. Just take the pulley puller. That is center drilled, so you can clamp that on there. And then just hold the rest of it on those balls. And usually just hand pressure will get it to move. I'm not even using a wrench. There we go. Now you want to make sure you don't lose that little... Well, actually that's in there pretty good, so put that aside, making sure not to lose that little tab. Now on the bottom of this here, there is a spanner hole. You're supposed to use a spanner, pin spanner, which basically just looks like a flat wrench with a little tab at the bottom to grab it and hook on and go. They're relatively, I don't want to say hugely expensive, but I mean, you look at 15-20 bucks for a wrench that you're going to use once. So here's my pin spanner. It's an Allen wrench. It will fit exactly on that hole, and then you have enough leverage to undo it and wrap it around. Now see this hole right there? That's a hole. We have to drill that hole. What that is an oil reservoir. Now you don't want the hole lined up with that hole, because all shit's gonna fall in there and then go inside your screw. You want it at an angle. What happens is you put the oil in here, it hits that little collar that we made, the thread relief, flows around to the bottom, fills up, and then goes into that hole. If you notice, if you slowly unscrew this, let me mark the location of it. So I'll line the zero with the zeros up, and we'll see if we can keep this together as we turn it out. Alright, so there's my zero mark right there in the vertical position, and the hole is right here. So you can see it's not, it's about say about the 10 o'clock position on that shaft. Alright, now for the fit up. Make sure everything fits. We don't have to do any more machining. Hopefully we're done. We should be done. We got some nasties in there that are holding that thread back. Now, let me, I'll take a tap and run it through there real quick. There's just a buildup of gunk right there that's holding that back. I can see it. All set. I just had to run a tap down there real quick just to clean out one of the nasties on the threads. Now, it fit on there all the way tight. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see. I'll try to get a good view of that. Okay. There's the oil hole. Alright, here is my thread relief. Now you can see the threads in there now as I tighten it. See the threads end right there? That's going to be my oil channel. Alright, the reason why that drill bit was spinning is because the collet on the flex shaft actually loosened up. Tightened it down and I got the 3 holes in there. I chose 3 holes because I can adjust the pressure, make sure I have even pressure all around the bearing. You could probably go with 2. I just like 3, so you see it's going to sit right in there. Now it's time for kind of the final fit up, figure out where we're going to be drilling all of our holes. So right now this is in here hand tight. Just got my strap wrench right here, just to be able to put a little bit of torque on it, a little bit of tightening on here. Oop, helps if I put it the right way, right? Alrighty. Alrighty. Now that's tighter than hand tight, because now what I have to do is mark in line with that oil hole. Do this right about there. That's going to become a 0, which I'll verify once we get everything all set. Now we have to mark out where we want our oil hole. And we said, let me see if I can give you a better shot. And we said that was roughly the 10 o'clock position or so. Get some more light in there. So we want to drill our oil hole right about that area. And then we're going to have to drill a hole in the bottom for our spanner hole. So I'll mark the bottom there. Alright. So before I get to drilling this, I want to take this over to the drill press, drill these clearance holes for our 632 number 632 screws that we're going to use, and countersink them to hold the heads flush with the end of this. Alright, just a little tip. Even though your drill press vices have slots and your drill press table has slots, never bolt it down. You need to be able to move it around to get it. These are just magnetic soft jaws I have in there to hold that in place. I'm using the flat as alignment, and I'm overhanging into my drill press vise just to get the pressure. These are just snug enough to go so that if it grabs, it doesn't spin. Using the soft jaws because I don't want to either dent the sides and end up with a whole pain in the ass. This is a clearance drill. It's a number either 28 or 29, something like that. It's just a clearance drill for my screw to be able to slide through those holes. One. 2. And 3. There you go there. Now I just have to deburr this side. I'm going to run it over a piece of sandpaper real quick. That's where the drill bit broke through. And then we can countersink it. Alright, just got a 60-degree countersink in there. Feel where that burr was. Countersink that side. A bit more. It's got a little bit more to go here. There you go, countersunk. And I don't know if I can hold it and get it at the right angle at the same time. We're flush. Now we have to transfer these holes to our bushing. Alright, we got it all cleaned up, deburred, everything that we need to do. Now, here's the bushing. I want to flip it upside down so I have a flat surface. I also have the nut on there to protect the threads. A couple of pieces of wood I'm just going to put over my jaws so I don't make a mark on it when I transfer punch. Let's see. Not quite. There it is right there. Yep, this is the tightest one. So, get it in the hole. Transfer punch marks. Now what I'll do, I'm going to drill one and tap it and then double check and make sure the other ones line up, but they should. You can say it fits in there pretty good without really, I mean it moves, but I need to use some force to make it to move. So let me drill these for our tap size, and then I'll tap one and then I'll drill the other. Alright, my depth of hole needs to be roughly 450 thousandths from the plate there, that inside shoulder. So we have to accurately set the depth somehow. So here's what I'm going to do. If I bring this down, touching where my drill hole is going to start, I'm going to lock it down and hold it in that position. There you go. I'm going to move it to where I have movement. Let me set my calipers here for a second. Alright, let's try that again. Bring this down. Stick the edge of my calipers in there. Bring this up right to where it meets that shoulder. And then bring my depth stop down. my other collar down to lock it so vibration doesn't move it. And there you go. It's 450 thousandths of depth of cut. And I can loosen this up to clear my part. Alright, let's get ready to cut those. Let me tap that one and make sure the other two marks line up. Alright, I finished drilling those holes. I moved my table down. We just want to locate, make sure we're still in one of those holes. And I'm going to take this out. And I'm going to put in, this is a, it's a 60-degree center point. It used to be an old router bit that I ground the edges off of. I use it as a tap guide. They do make spring-loaded guides and stuff, but I had this, saw this on hand one day, and I decided to make a tap guide out of it. And my tap handle here, you can see has a hole in it. That's going to ride in the guide. We're going to be able to get it perfectly straight. I'm going to use two different types of taps. Let me see if I can get you up a little closer here. Okay, now that I got you focused up into here, like I said, we're going to be using two taps. This is a tapered tap. As you can see, it's kind of pointy on the end. These first 4 or 5 threads are ground. That gives you a good start into the work in a very, very good alignment. Now these holes are drilled just enough to be able to take that screw, so then we're gonna come in after that with a bottoming tap. As you can see, there's one thread ground on the end and it's perfectly flat on the bottom. This will allow me to get to the bottom of the hole. The reason why you kind of don't want to use these first is they're very hard to start in a blind hole, and plus it takes a lot of pressure, especially for a tap this small or a thread this small. You have a very high chance of breaking this off more than anything. So you get a little bit. I went back down with the bottoming tap on that hole. Now we have to locate this one. I just want to show you exactly how I'm going to do this. So if I put my drill bit back in, a little lower than that. Find my hole right there. Pull that bit out. Put in my tap guide. My homemade tap guide. Tighten that down. A bit of oil. Make sure that's in the hole. And a little bit of pressure and just start it. Once I get that amount of pressure on there, it'll guide itself in. Back it out when you feel resistance, otherwise you will snap the tap off and have a very bad day. And I can feel right there we're at the bottom of our hole. And I will put the bottoming tap in and run through that again and get those threads all the way to the bottom, and then we'll go over to the bench and see how we look. Alright, I just tested it on the bench and we're pretty much good to go with the holes themselves. Let me just get these lined up here. That's what it looks like. Things nice and lined up, and the holes are to the correct depth. My screw fits and is flush with the top of this. So now I gotta drill a hole for the spanner wrench, which is already marked, and also the hole for the oil hole, which is center punched there. I have this little V-block guy here. It can hold anything round that automatically centers everything. Works out pretty good. I'm gonna drill the hole. This is a number 40 drill bit, 41. I just matched it to the oil hole that was on the old bushing, and then the spanner hole I'm gonna drill is gonna be 11/64, which is the same size as a spanner hole on my compound, so I can use the same Allen to get it in there. Now the oil hole we want all the way through, so it doesn't really matter about our depth. There we go. There's the oil hole. Alright, our depth on our spanner hole does matter. I have this drill bit just deep enough to give me a nice round hole. Line up my marks. Yeah, let me center that up a little bit. The hole's just not deep enough, that's all. Deep enough now. And there's the spanner hole. Now let me polish it up. We'll do our final fit up.